Hey, I'm Johnny Lantern, and today I'm going to show you how to stay in werewolf form almost infinitely and why. In this video I'll show you how and where to get the werewolf bite in the Daggerfall Covenant, good areas to level the ability, and how to level the skills faster. I'll cover important skills to not only have in werewolf form, but also in your natural form. I'll also cover weapons and armor, and talk about health, stamina, and magicka, and how much you may or may not want. So in the Daggerfall Covenant, there's one place to get the werewolf bite, and that's in Bankarai. Near the Troll's Toothpick Way Shrine, there are 3 spawn points to where infectious werewolf NPCs will spawn, and I will show exactly where I've personally found them on more than one occasion. Heading southwest from the Way Shrine, we'll find our first spawn point to where the werewolves usually are. Werewolves can be found in multiple areas all across the Daggerfall Covenant, but you'll know it's the infectious NPCs when you've come across 3 of them, and it's 3 of them in one single spot. So right now we're coming up on the first spawn point to where the werewolves spawn, and that's right here in this little area. So the werewolves will spawn exactly where my character is standing right now, and I'm going to go ahead and mark it on my map so you can see exactly where on the map it is. Now you by no means have to kill these werewolves. In fact, it's proper etiquette in ESO not to. Aggro them and let them hit you until you're infected. An easy way to aggro them is simply using the ability Inner Fire or Puncture. If you happen to kill one by accident, hey, it happens, whatever. But to deliberately kill them, that's not trolling, that's just being a dick. Now if you're curious to see if you've been infected with Synergistic lupinus, go into your character menu and just scroll down and it should show if you were infected or not. Now this area right here is actually where I found my first group of werewolves. I was actually about to give up and I looked off to the side and lo and behold there they are. So this area right here I'm going to mark. So there was the first one, and then scrolling down right here where I am, this is where the second area is. So since my first infection of Synergistic lupinus, I've actually found them a couple other times here as well. Now I've always found werewolves to spawn during a full moon, but other players have told me that as long as it's nighttime, there's always a small chance. So right now where I'm standing is the third spot to where the werewolves spawn. And right there is the second one, and there was the first one right there. So the second one right there, and the third one right where I'm standing. And we are exactly opposite the lake from where the actual werewolf shrine is. So I'm going to go ahead and over there just so you can see exactly what it looks like. And funny enough, it's actually really quiet over here right now. Usually, I mean, there's tons of werewolves. So one of the sometimes easier ways to become a werewolf is to not find them, but get bitten by an ally. May that someone be in the same alliance, guild, or maybe a personal friend of yours. So I made this character recently, my Nicki Minaj lookalike, and started dancing at the werewolf shrine like I just was, and someone was nice enough to bite into that ass and give my character lycanthropy. If you're on the Xbox One, I actually have a guild, Claw and Fang, for just that, giving out the werewolf bite for free. If you want to join the cause, just let me know in a message. You see, unfortunately, there's an economy for werewolf and vampire bites, and it's the guild's mission to eradicate that.
Bring it.
Now, I actually learned something. I thought the werewolf quest actually scaled to your level regardless of what level you were, but it looks like the lowest it actually goes is 12, and my character's level 4, and I am having a little bit of trouble with this mammoth. But finally I took it down. It took a little bit, but I managed. So you can do it too. Oh, and you should know, if you're doing the werewolf quest for the first time, the quest cycles through 3 different animals you have to hunt, one being the mammoth. The other option that it could be is a snake, which tends to be a little bit harder depending on your skill level, and the other one is the troll. So if you don't find one, look for one of the other 2. So for leveling up the werewolf skill tree quickly, I recommend coming to one of 2 places. If your character's level is in the lower 30s onward, here in Bankarai, just come to this farm area in North Glen and just kill the zombies. Once you make it past the stretch to level 3 in the werewolf skill tree, which won't take long, you unlock the skill Devour. Grab this and the rest is a piece of cake. I recommend grabbing the werewolf skill Pounce once it unlocks, because you're going to want to grab the skill's Morph Feral Pounce, which is another skill that when you use it, will add time to your werewolf form. So if you're between the levels of 1 and 30, come to this area next to the Lion's Redoubt Way Shrine. Here at the Gaudette Farm, it's filled with zombies, but they're level 16. If you make a circle around the farm killing zombies, by the time you get back to where you started, they should respawn again, making it a great hunting ground for you. The character I'm using right now actually became a werewolf at level 16, and this is exactly how I leveled him up. I was a level 10 werewolf in no time. So getting to level 10 werewolf is considerably easy, but leveling up the individual skills can be a bitch. To level them up a lot faster than they normally would, once you unlock them, go ahead and equip them in your ability bar. Obviously you won't be able to use them in your natural form, but every time you get experience, like when you're killing mobs, doing dungeons, turning in quests, you'll be getting experience for the skills you have slotted. Otherwise, the only time you'll actually be getting experience is when you're in your werewolf form. Time to cover my favorite, werewolf skills. First and foremost, you're going to want the Werewolf Transformation Morph Pack Leader because every time you do a heavy attack, you're going to add 2 seconds to your time in werewolf form. I have tried out the other option, which is Werewolf Berserker, and I gotta say, for DPS, it's awesome, but we're already dealing a lot of damage as Pack Leader, and we're trying to stay in werewolf form as long as possible, so go ahead and pick Pack Leader. The next skill you're going to want to pick is Feral Pounce. Feral Pounce is a morph of Pounce, so once you get up to the morphing stage, get Feral Pounce, and every time you do the skill, you'll add 3 seconds to your werewolf duration. So the next skill I picked was Hircine's Rage. It adds health already, but then with the morph, it increases my damage. But if you're already dealing a lot of damage and you need more health recovery, go ahead and pick Hircine's Fortitude for that extra boost. Now the next skill on the list is Claws of Life. Now I love this one because it deals a crap ton of damage and I can spam this when I need health, so I love that one. Because we're using heavy attacks to stay in werewolf form longer, having 2 out of 2 in Pursuit is definitely required. Or at least strongly encouraged. Devour, obviously, you're adding a lot of time every time you devour a corpse. This next ability, Blood Rage, is so important, with this passive being hit gives you time in werewolf form. So stacked with your Pack Leader skill, in a fight, every 3 seconds you should be adding an additional 4 seconds to your time. So about an extra 80 seconds every minute of fighting. And because I know you're awesome, I know you're going to get Blood Moon so you can help transform your friends and allies into werewolves as well. And the next one, Savage Strength. Definitely pick this one up. Increase your weapon damage by 18%, like, why not? And the next one, Call of the Pack, add an additional 10 seconds to your friends and allies' time. Like, that's awesome. Now I'm going to go over a few skills that are really good to have. Cast these right before you go into werewolf form, and that way you can have them active, at least, for the short time that they are. Like this one's 20 seconds. And I really do love Hardened Armor because it does give you that additional armor and spell resistance, which is always crucial. Being a Dragonite has been awesome for a werewolf build, and I definitely encourage you to try it out, because you're going to get access to Iron Skin, Burning Heart, and Scaled Armor in your werewolf form. Obviously you don't want to pick up Elder Dragon because you only get percentage for every Draconic ability slotted, and when you're in werewolf form, guess what? You don't have any slotted, so it kind of makes it useless. But these passives are great. So if you're playing as a werewolf and a Dragonite, Earth and Heart skills are going to play a key role. First, let's take a look at Eternal Mountain. This will increase your duration of your Earth and Heart skills by 20%, which is great if you cast them before going to werewolf form. Second of all, Battle Roar. This is fantastic. Restores up to 70% of your ultimate's cost in magicka, stamina, and health, and with your werewolf ultimate costing so much, Battle Roar is kind of a big deal. So this next one, Mountain's Blessing, it gives an additional 3 ultimate when you cast an Earth and Heart skill. This is just awesome. So every 6 seconds, make sure to cast an Earth and Heart ability, and you're closer to being able to transform into your werewolf form. It's just excellent. And Helping Hands. This Earth and Heart ability helps you restore stamina. Why wouldn't you take it? Now there are a couple of skills that help add to your ultimate meter, one of which is a two-handed skill Carve, which adds extra ultimate every 1.5 seconds for 9 seconds. Paired up with the Earth and Heart skills, you'll be able to transform into your werewolf form quickly. I really do recommend using a two-handed weapon in werewolf form because any passive skills are going to transfer over into your werewolf form. The beauty of the two-handed weapon is you can hit more than one target, so the disease damage you do with your werewolf claws will now be able to hit more than one target. So while you're finishing off one of the targets in the group, you can rest easy knowing that anyone in the group of the enemies is taking poison damage in the meantime, as well as any other residual damage. So for the same reason that I love Carve for two-handed, I love Heroic Slash for one-handed shield because it's going to add to your ultimate, which means you're going to be in your werewolf form a lot faster. Now, if you want to be a much more tanky werewolf, having one-handed shield going into werewolf form, you're going to get access to these passives right here. And that's great because it's going to make you super tanky. You're going to do more bashing, use less stamina. I mean, you'll be able to play the same tank just in werewolf form. Speaking of tanking, I roll heavy armor. Personally, I think it looks awesome, but it also has some great passives. Since being hit keeps you in werewolf form longer, I think it's a great option. On the other hand, if you prefer the passives associated with medium armor, do that instead. This is your infinite werewolf build. I'm just adding my 2 cents. So I can think of a few races that probably do this build really well, but I gotta say I think it's Imperial that does it best because it has tough and conditioning. Those are going to add extra health and extra stamina, both things you're going to use a lot of. I mean, hopefully you're going to keep them from, touching your health too much, but just in case, you've also got Red Diamond, which gives you melee attacks a 10% chance to restore health, and that's just awesome. Alright, so let's talk about armor. Now with this one I did the infused and I added the stamina, and I got more because of the infused. But this Hisbark set is great because it's going to add physical resistance, it's going to add health, it's going to add maximum health, and you're going to get that 18% chance to dodge, which is excellent. Now another set that I really like is the Vampire's Kiss set. Now I added the enchantment to add stamina and the trait Impenetrable. I didn't have infused at the time, but if I did, I would have added infused just to get more stamina, because I am lacking in stamina. But with the Vampire's Kiss set, you're not going to lack in health, because you're going to add health recovery, you're going to add maximum health, you're going to add 4% healing taken, you're going to add the Blood Frenzy, which is great because what that does is every time you kill an enemy, you restore health. So you're like a vampire werewolf, going all underworld on your ass. I mean, it's a great set. It's a good option. I'd probably recommend Hisbark though, just so you can take more damage. In this short clip here, I'm actually using the Vampire's Kiss armor set. That red glow under my character's feet is the Blood Frenzy activating, and you can see my character's health regenerating quickly. In areas with lots of mobs, this set can be extremely helpful. So, let's talk about health, stamina, and magicka. This is the big deal. I'm not at endgame yet, so I don't have a finished model, but I have an idea of something to strive for. This character is a werewolf tank, which I consider different from a standard tank because I'm spending most of my time in werewolf form. I lean heavily on health, but unlike standard sword and board tanks, this character is going to need a handful of stamina. I'm looking at 1 point of stamina for 2 points of health right now, maybe even going half later. What I'm doing right now is really working for me, but like I said, this isn't an endgame build, and I haven't even tried it on PvP yet, nor would I until the next patch comes out, which is supposed to give more spell resistance to werewolves. I would like to give a really big thank you to my subscribers. Thank you guys so much for your support, it really does mean the world to me, and I hope all of you have had an awesome summer. And thank you so much to my guild in ESO, you guys in the Claw and Fang have been fantastic. I would like to give a special thank you to the British Robot and Super Soaker 614 for running countless dungeons with me and helping me level up on my tight summer schedule. And of course, thank you to Sinbad for that werewolf bite. I would like to give a shout out to one of my subscribers, Dogblood, for getting on my ass about putting out a video. And don't you worry, in October when AC Syndicate comes out, I'll be covering all of it.